Nice, nice.
Hey guys. Okay, so that was quite a roller coaster. So obviously, yeah, let's give it a second.
It
Let's
happens. It happens. No worries.
yeah. Hey Sri, hey Isaac. So good to see you.
Yeah, great to see you guys.
Yeah.
Sorry, everyone. Apparently, like now Zoom and LinkedIn are like they broke up
Yep.
and they no longer
Yep.
support each other.
And they
So the
didn't and
option,
they didn't announce the breakup. So
yeah,
everyone's confused right now.
yeah. We apologize for the confusion, but it just so happens that like the streaming option has completely just like disappeared from Zoom. And so we just kind of like had to manually send a link to people.
And yeah, and I've been bashing my head around how to should we shouldn't, but yes, we have to, but and like I said, it was a roller
Happens,
coaster. It
happens.
happens, yeah. Yeah. But slowly but surely we will gather around uh and sing Kumbaya. Yeah.
Wait, what? Didn't know that this is what the live stream was about.
Yes, the Kumbaya and the lyrics. We're gonna analyze the lyrics of Kumbaya. Yeah.
Perfect. Let
No,
me put the
seriously.
lyrics in the chat then.
Okay, I think we can start here. All right. Everybody on Lighthouse Live. Um, this one is going to be just a bit different because we are going to check out the new stuff, the new craze, the Qwen LoRAs, the Qwen Edit LoRAs 2509, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. And we're going to check out how to use them, where to get them, a couple of use cases. I'll have the fun part, and Maggot will have the working part. So I'm gonna show you
Uh-oh.
a couple of nice and fun LoRa's, and Maggot will show you how to use and how to get the real LoRa's for production. So camera edit and the next scene, right?
Yeah, like
Perfect.
I
All
think
right.
these are good examples to showcase Qwen Edit.
Exactly. Yeah. So again, welcome guys. If you have any questions, please use the comments. You can also say hello, where are you coming from, and what's your level of Comfy knowledge, because that's important for the session itself. If there are many newbies here, no worries. We'll cover how to get Comfy, how to install it really fast, and a couple of tips and tricks for the first 5 minutes. If everybody is at least on the, if you have it installed or if you open it already once, then no worries. We will just dive into the workflow and start working. So if you will, just, from 1 to 10, what's your level of comfy? Thank you very much. Please input in comment. Hello, Oak Park. Hey, Jeff. Big fan. Dominic 67. Wow, that's nice. That's a lot more than 10.
You broke this. Oh yeah, true. I don't know if that's a level or just a reference to.
Okay, so let's say that we are in the medium. Hey, Argentina.
Mhm.
Hey, Juano.
Mm.
So we won't get into how to install Comfy, where to get it, and so on, right? I will presume that most of people already work with Comfy, at least open one workflow. So, hey, Carlos at 6, very nice. Okay, so let's start. All right, so we got our Comfy open, and the first thing that you see right now is your basic image to video. No, text to image workflow. It works for 1.5 and SDXL for Flux and other models you need. Quite different setup, but we won't get into this today. We will go in templates. Oh, first of all, you have to have the latest copy of Comfy. So if you don't have it, just open your well, console and just type git get clone or no. What is git
For for uh, for
for
like the get
updating? Yeah.
for updating, like the code itself,
Yeah.
it should be. I'll maybe send it in the chat.
Oh, but otherwise you just go to manager and update all or update Comfy. Update all
Yeah.
if you're feeling adventurous. So I would just update Comfy and you are good. So just a little tip. Recently I had issues with my Comfy. It wouldn't update. It just wouldn't update. So after a couple of weeks of research, me and Maggot found out that Comfy works best if your GPU drivers are updated. If you have old GPU drivers, then you might have some issues. So that was fun for me. Anyway, if your Comfy is updated, just go to your templates here or here, and you can go to image or you can type in QWEN. And here it is, Qwen image edit 2509. Click on it, and if you don't have your models, you can just click download the Fusion Models Qwen image edit 2509. Be careful, it is 19 gigs in size, so it's quite a chunk of your disk drive. And of course, it's optional, but it's very advisable to also download the Qwen Image Edit Lightning for Steps LoRa. We will check this out in a second. And after you download everything will show up. You will have two options. We will use the first one. But I went ahead and already prepared the one. Just give me a second. Edit LoRa's. Yes. So I will share this workflow a bit later. But what I did is, the difference is that here you can see only one LoRa, and I upgraded this workflow with Power LoRa's. So as said, you will have this workflow available after this session, and I already put inside which LoRa's we are going to use. And over here, you have the Hugging Face URLs for those LoRa's. And here are the trigger words. Some of those are in English, some of those are in Chinese, but basically here are the examples, what you need to make the LoRa work. All right. And of course, as always, Comfy is kind enough to send us all the models, the fusions, text encoders, and VAE, because of course you need a special VAE, a special text encoder, and the model and LoRa you've already downloaded, I guess. Hope so. But yeah, let's start with, well, I have Qwen Edit. I don't know why, but it's a new version. No, I don't know. It's working well, so I'll just, leave it alone. As a lot of things in Comfy, if it works, just don't do anything, don't blink, okay? It works. All right. Okay. As you can see, for the upscale, we have a special notes. We'll get to it really soon. Anything else is we have 3 images. As you can see, I had an immense fun yesterday with turning cartoons images into real life photos, and back, of course, I needed to. Well, the ordinary um, the template has VA decode and then save image. So in my case, I have a image comparer. So we can compare, well, images. All right. I have my save image disabled. We will be working with, I know we have a lightning LoRa with 4 steps, but I noticed that even if you go up, if you go to 8 or 10, then the quality is significantly better. So you can have 20 steps. You wouldn't see much difference from 10 to 20, but be careful. If you are using the Lightning LoRa, then your CFG value must be 1. It's also in the comments here. So if you're using, the Comfy workflow that we are using right now, you will be using it with 20 steps and 2.5 CFG. You can set up here, so 20 steps and 2.5 CFG. We will be working with Lightning LoRas, so we will have 4 or more steps, but the CFG has to be at 1.0. So, just follow those instructions and you will be fine. But you can of course um, work with other schedulers and samplers. If you don't have as many as these, I think you can download them with um which one is Maggot? Do you know which nodes are the ones that give you more options?
It's called, yeah, I know which ones you mean. It's called something with a shark, something like shark samplers or something. And they add very useful new samplers as well.
Exactly.
Shark clown, I think. I remember it was being, it's a very ridiculous word. I think it was shark clown, but I don't think it's available on the manager list. Yeah,
Oh,
there you go.
the clown shark.
That's it. That's the one.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, this one
rest
actually.
for
RES.
life. So
Maybe
if
try
you
to
put
search for
in
this. Yeah, exactly. Tries to search for,
rest for, there you go.
perfect. This one.
Yeah, this one. So you just, um, install it and you will have all those nice things. I know Christmas came early and you can do the um, XY comparison forever. Okay. All right, perfect. So let's get started. So the first LoRa that we will check out is this person LoRa. So what it does, it actually adds a person inside the room. So let's take person full body image. And let's take this gentleman for starters, copy image, we can do that, and just paste it in the note. Boom. And we are done. So, what is this doing? So, first of all, you have to paint the green area inside. And let's use, what should we do? Bedroom. Okay, and let's, it doesn't matter that much. Let's copy this image and paste it inside here. Okay, it has perfect dimensions. So what we need to add the green stuff. Okay, right click and we will go to open in mask editor. Right now, we can, just mask it, but we can also paint on it by selecting this nice little gadgets. I have to remove this one. And color selector, just, eyeball the bright green and we're good. Thickness, opacity, everything works. And let's put thickness a bit less, but let's, just put this person over here. All right. So we can save it. We have a nice little green blob here. And our prompt will be this person. Okay, let's just copy this. And this person is standing in a bedroom. That's it. That's it. All you have to do right now is click run, or if you love simple and efficient and quick things, just press Control and Enter, and you will automatically get things going. We will have to wait for a couple of seconds because today, I know, shame on me, but today has been the first run of Comfy. I've been doing quite a lot of stuff, and I didn't have any time today yet to play with Comfy. which is unfortunate, but hey, you know, life and priorities, right? All right. And we should get the preview here. So if you don't get the preview here, what you can do is go to Manager and click on Preview Methods and select Fast. If you select very fast, then you will not have a preview. So latent to RGB is pretty good. You don't have to restart, just close it. And I don't know what's going on. Let's check out our console and request to load Qwen image. There we go. I think, yes, here we are. Okay, and this is somehow vertical. I don't remember saying I want a vertical. Oh, yes, it's taking this
It's taking the
dimension.
original dimensions.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed, indeed. We will switch. We will do the ordinary switcheroo. And let's do this. Hold up, hold up. So I have this image and this image. Okay, yeah. And yeah, here it is. So, well, as expected, it added image of this person to a bedroom. But we have to do a switch. So let's copy this image. And no, let's use this person. Copy and paste it here. And we are taking this bedroom, copy image, go to Comfy, boom, and right click, open in mask editor, and do the painting again. So brush, green color, it has to be green color, otherwise it will not work. I have checked this already. You don't have to be precise with masks, so you are good. And let's do that again. This time it will be a bit quicker. And also I found out that not all of generations are working immediately. Sometimes we have to, you know, redo something or like in AI, no generation, in rare cases, there is a perfect result in a first run. So you need to do a couple of runs to get a perfect result. All right. And let's see. Meanwhile, I mean, yeah, this LoRa does exactly what it says. So this person gets into the next image. All right. The person is not exactly the same, so maybe it would be better if we would match the dimensions. So the image of this person should be the same dimensions as this image. That's how we would get the best results. Right now, the similarity is there, but it's just similarity. It's not the same person, right? All right. Are there any questions right now? If not, we can move to other LoRas. Okay, image fusion. So image fusion is think Photoshop, the new feature from Photoshop. Someone has an idea, how's it called? Whoops.
Something like in painting or basically the new
No,
feature.
it's not in painting. Let's disable this node and we will put, where is it?
Harmonize. Yeah, people are saying in the chat.
Harmonize,
Yeah.
exactly. Yes. Qwen LoRAs live, here we go. And we can, you know, my example is nothing special, but I just, you know, I just put a random car on the random background and image fusion, 10 step CFG1, everything else is the same. Boom.
I mean, this actually combos very nicely with the previous LoRa because you can use
It
this
does.
person LoRa. So it kind of just places the person in the part that you masked, and then you can use this harmonize one or like
Exactly.
this, yeah, fusion one, and then you can make it more realistic.
Of course, I forgot to switch the prompt, which happens lots of times. You can just, copy and paste this, and you will get a nice result. Here we go, the preview. And we can already see that it added the shadow. It's not perfect. I wouldn't use that as a billboard thing, but it's quite okay. If we upscale this one, we would get a really nice. And can you see that we even have the reflections of the desert in the rim and reflections in the car? So that's pretty awesome. We have tinted windows, but everything else is quite the same. We get a little image shift, which is quite normal for context or edit LoRAs. So we don't get the same pixel ratio. But I think that for contest, there has been a solution. So I don't doubt that Qwen edit LoRAs will have solution as well. It's pretty nice, like I say, but I wouldn't use that for anything much serious. Moving on to light restoration. So, um, maybe, I don't know, why would we want to use this? But, clients can be very funny, if I put that very lightly. And sometimes they say, well, weird stuff. So they might say, okay, we paid gazillion bucks for this photographer, so he set up the lighting, but we suddenly don't like the shadows on her. And you say, of course, no problem. We have just the tool for this. So we just copy paste the Chinese letter here and nothing else. We just switched LoRa. So light restoration, the Chinese something, I don't know what it is. If someone speaks and reads Chinese, if you can translate this, what it says, you would make our day a bit lighter. Are there any questions right now?
It's actually like so interesting how it realizes or just like quick identifies by itself where the
Yeah.
shadows are. So you don't have
Yeah.
to mask anything. There is
Yes.
not a lot of like in painting involved. You just give it the thing and it just works it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
insane.
I don't have a question, just more of like a workflow. So
Mhm.
that first LoRa that you did that places the image, places it in the scene. There's no lighting.
Mhm.
And then that second LoRa harmonizes the whole scene. So like if we were using that in an actual workflow, like how would you set that up so you get the one that places and the second that harmonizes?
Yeah, something like that. I would need to test this in the real use case, but it should work. But it
Got it.
would be
So in that
nice if,
case, like do you first put the image, do you first make your composition and then run that composition through?
yeah, exactly.
Got it.
So, yeah, so the green blob on the destination image, add the human, and then copy the human, the result in the load image node, and then go through harmonize or what is it called? The image fusion LoRa, and we should get a pretty nice results. So let's check this out. It is really insane how it maintains all the facial features and it adds all the missing info. It is crazy. It adds a bit of, its own thing, like you can see it in eyes. It adds lightning to eyes, but otherwise, I mean, everything is pretty perfect. So yeah, if there aren't any questions about this, it's pretty straightforward. Just like I said, all the LoRa's we're checking right now are really straightforward. Not a lot of science behind it. In user experience, of course. There's a lot of science added to it when creating. But this one is interesting, white to scene. So what we do is we find an object with a white background, we add it in our node. So our trigger word will be this Chinese letters. Did we find out if we have Chinese speaking guests here on our event? But basically what you do is you use the trigger word and then you add what you want to, how do you want it to behave. So let's say the car is in the middle of a rainforest. That's it. So let's see. And of course, each image gets resized. So you don't need to worry about large images, so 4K or even more, because it gets resized and it gets fed, the resized image gets fed into the right nodes. So we are getting you don't need to worry about images being too big and slowing your processes down. But I mean, I love this, what's coming out of this. So as you can see, a car, nothing special, on a white background. And as you know, the implications are huge. We can use this for e-commerce. It works brilliant. Yeah, it changed our dimensions a bit, but it left the car practically intact and even added the reflections of the trees in the window and reflections of in a pool. But as you can see, what I want to criticize Qwen per se is the quality of images isn't there. It is blurred, it is a bit smudged, so it's very, very hard to get the crisp cinematic images. But let's wait what community will do with those models, and I am sure that in next couple of weeks we will get the picture perfect models out there. All right, moving on. So what is this? Characters. I don't like this because the results are pretty poor, but I have to show it to you. So let's take the living room and add what's the word? Multiple characters, generate a cozy family of 4 in the image. So I have a question for you guys. What happens if you prompt 3 or 4 people doing dynamic things? What happens? Maggot, what are your experience of creating images with multiple people or even a crowd?
Well, usually the more there are crowd or like the more there are characters happening in the scene, the more likelihood of, let's say, the faces being morphing or a little bit like you can also see some ghosting or blurring of details, rather than if you just like focus on a localized area with just like one person.
Exactly, which is not the case. I am surprised. As I said, the quality isn't there, isn't the best. We would have to put this through upscaler, but this kind of, it upscalers introduce more noise and introduce more unwanted artifacts. But for a fast ideation, I think this is pretty good. The rug changed just a bit. So yeah, if you're doing something just for ideation, that's really cool. But if you need consistent characters, I would not use this. Okay.
So
And
for that, just for
yeah,
that image, how the family of 4, how detailed was that instruction, like exactly what we're seeing there?
just generate a cozy family of 4 in the image. That's it. Very, very
Wow.
vague. Yes. very vague.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on. We don't have a lot of time. So apply texture, this one is pretty awesome. So let's put this, and what should be, okay, give me a texture. Maggot, what
Yep.
kind of texture should we put on this briefcase?
Try wooden planks. Why not?
Wooden planks, all right.
Would be an interesting designer piece.
All right, images, and let's take this one. This one is nice and detailed. We will copy this image and we will paste it in our second node. Boom. The size is perfect. The size is really cool. And what is this? Apply wood siding texture to building walls. Okay, so let's do apply wood planks texture to a brief case. Whoops.
I mean, you already mentioned the wood part in the example prompt, so that was a nice coincidence as well.
Yes, exactly.
That was not rehearsed, everyone. Like honestly, this was a nice coincidence.
All right. Obviously, wood is our both one of our both favorite textures. And yeah, guys, look, it just works. I mean, this is
It's pretty
pure
cool, man.
magic. This is pure magic. Of course, it's not, it's technology, and thank you for all the researchers and all the scientists that are putting their effort into fun things like this. But hey, look at the results. Wow. Wow. That is pretty cool, man. What I also have in this workflow is your upscaler, and I am using Fal's Phil's Fal Phil's Fal node. Yeah. It saves a lot of time. I would um I could, set up the ultimate as the upscaler, but it would take us a while because upscalers are notorious for their time GPU
Consumption.
consumption. Thank you. GPU consumption, and of course, it takes a long time to produce an image. But as you can see, I already play with this, and the upscaling is really good. It's not perfect as some of the proprietary models, but being fast in like seconds, and you can even input your upscale factor. So, but you need an API key for FAL. All right, to make it work, and you pay small amount of money, but you save a lot of time, and the texture is really good. I think that's pretty crazy. All right, moving on, we are disabling this one. And well, this one was my absolute favorite. Anything to real or photo to anime. A photo to anime, we were doing this in the spring when GPT images came out, so I'm not doing this one again. But what I want to show you is this one. I didn't publish this, but let's bring in the so Stan, Eric, and Kenny. So turn this image into hyper realistic photo. And the things that are coming out are just wow. Oh, yeah, we have to disable this one, otherwise it won't know what they need to change. We also have the upscaling LoRAs, but you have to use 2. So you will get the upscale LoRa address here, and here are the here is what you need to follow in order to make it right. So shift must be kept below 0.3. So model sampling LoRa flow is here, model sampling LoRa flow. So when you're using those two, just disable this one, enable upscale always, and just, type in 0.3 and you just type in upscale this image and that's it, right? So it's very easy to use, but it takes quite some time to produce a very cool image. As you can see, we will probably have to reboot this workflow because it's stuck. Yeah. It happens quite a lot of times when using those LoRa's. So, be prepared to just restart your Comfy. That being said, I want to give my word to Maggot, and Maggot will show you some really, really advanced stuff. So, Mr. Maggot.
Yes, please. I'm gonna go ahead and jump right into it. I think we have like around 15 minutes, so I'll try to be very brief, even though it's gonna be advanced stuff, but I'll try to be as brief as possible to also let some time for you guys to, if you have any questions. So let's go ahead and let me know if you guys see my screen so far. So
Yes, sir.
just in the spirit of just continuing onwards from what Luka was talking about, and like basically it looks advanced, but it's nothing new. It's the exact same thing that Luka was doing. And the cool thing about the whole thing with image edit and the LoRa's that have these specific use cases is that it's practically the same workflow, but every time you change the LoRa, you basically have an entirely new use case. And this is the coolest thing about the whole thing with training LoRa's and in image edit. And here, just think of it as 2 more additional use cases that you can also use in your LoRa use case. And in this very simple one, you don't have to focus on this one. This is basically a very simple text to image, just to generate this kind of like interior shot of a mid-century sort of interior. And you can see that mid-century interior designs have these kind of like colorful and wood accents. I just used it to create a very simple image. And I just input this image in the text encode Qwen image edit plus, which is the same, this is the exact same workflow that Luka was talking about, and the exact same settings as well, and even the same LoRa's. The only difference is that I have loaded the models, that these kind of like initial models of Qwen edit. I just loaded it once at the beginning, and I would just like connect it to all the subsequent workflows, just so I don't have to load it every single time. Even though like the newer ComfyUIs are intelligent enough to know if you're loading the same model, so it doesn't load it once more on the VRAM, but just for the sake of being brief, I just kind of did it this way. But more or less, it's the same workflow, same everything. So what does this one do? This one is called multiple angles. And if I took a look at the LoRa, if I zoomed in here, it's called multiple angles. And what this one does is that you feed it an image. So in the same node, you just put it in the image 1 slot, and you provide it with different, like the wording has to be specific, but you're free to experiment. And this is actually in the same words as the developers who made this tool. So what type of words that you can use, the specific words more or less, is that, for example, you can say no change to camera, which is like just leave the camera as is, don't do anything. And you can do also multiple things to the camera as well. So for example, here, rotate the camera 45 degrees to the right, or turn the camera to a top-down view, for example. And why did I include this thing in specific? It's just because I have created sort of like a list of different camera angles, and I want the first one to be my reference, and I want it to be in the same list of images, so I can see my reference image, and then I can compare the differences in the subsequent generations. So the first one is going to be the same, and then I'm going to see the effect, and I'm going to go ahead and grab this just so we can preview everything next to each other. And as you can see, the first one with no change to the camera angle, so it stays the same. However, if I go down here and I just said turn the camera angle 90 degrees to the right or to the left in this case, and in this case, it kind of rotated the image. And here is a top-down view of the exact same interior, but this time the shot is from above. And I really like the consistency in it. And I think it's a bit more obvious once I click on one of these images, and then you can see, like you can tell the movement of the, like this is the 45-degree to the right, and then this is kind of like a top-down of the same scenario. So you kind of like get a very nice context of, or it has a very good understanding of the context. And when it rotates, it makes sure that also the objects align and so forth. Is there wonkiness? Always. There always has to be wonkiness in the generated result. And sometimes when you say something like 90 degrees to the left, sometimes it over generates some objects or stretches some objects, so it can kind of like make up for the lost space. But same as with everything, like it's all about just like kind of playing around. It does also mention, like I'm going to also switch to their site, so or their page on Hugging Face. It does also mention that you can make close-up shots, but for some reason, when I was doing it on this example with their exact same settings, for some reason it didn't always get it, like kind of like these close-up shots for some reason. I found a better time working these close-up shots actually in the next LoRa that we're going to be discussing. But for some reason, yeah, it sometimes works, sometimes it doesn't. And also feel free to experiment with different things. Like, for example, move the camera here in this context under the table or move it above the table. Or let's say like turn the camera to the left or right. You can experiment with all of these things and see what like works for you. I also generated another like shot. So basically it's kind of like a shot of two people sitting or like talking to each other in a room. And this is basically also what was generated from the result. I'm going to kind of like rotoscope them in the exact same way. So here, here. So kind of like you have here, the rotation is not really 45 degrees angle, but you get to see kind of like how much it holds to the context. And I really like the difference between the top down in regards or in comparison to the original one. Like it's even the couch and everything, the pillow, it takes all of this context and just like reflects it. Maybe the only wonky thing that I noticed is that in the reflection in the mirror, it just kind of reflected the same couch. It doesn't show the back of the couch, for example. But yeah, this is also a very interesting LoRa that I think will come in very good tandem with the next one, which is called Next Scene. And Next Scene, it's basically this, you have to be a bit more descriptive about the way that you go about this one. But what you're seeing right now is the same setup. I'm just changing the LoRa this time to, this one is multiple angles, but not Next Scene. Here, Next Scene, for example. But the generated results should be coherent with what you have. But what this one does is that it tries as much as possible to maintain the scene that you have, but you can describe something else. So for example, I wrote next scene, which is kind of the trigger word of the LoRa. And then I said something like, the man is looking flustered, pacing back and forth. His hand his hand is in his hair, a lot of H's, and so forth. And basically what it generates is something like this. So you have the scene A, and then like maybe scene B, you want to see it kind of like, you want to change or kind of describe what one of the characters in your scene does. And it tries to kind of maintain coherency as much as possible. And as you can see, the scene is, everything is where it is, but now the guy looks kind of like, flustered and also scratching his hair as described in the prompt. And you can see how you can, with something like this, once you combine it also with the multiple angles, so you can also kind of like have a bit of control now, like just with prompting, you can have a good deal of control over just like the generated result, even though you're just using text. So these are also very nice couple of additional to, like, let's say, interesting LoRa's that have been getting a lot of traction lately. What I wanted to showcase as well, maybe in a couple of minutes, is just a bit of a follow-up on a comment that Luka also said, and that is the generated result from Qwen is not satisfactory. And I actually agree, and this is something that I've always noticed, and I thought it was just an issue maybe with my setup or my settings, but this has always been a case for me as well. What I found to improve the quality was to use this very specific LoRa, which is called the Qwen Image Lightning. This one Luka has also been using in his workflow as well, and it is vital for any Qwen workflow, edit or not edit or just generating images. it has to be there, because LoRa's, even though it's trained to just speed up the process or make it finish in fewer steps, but LoRa's also sometimes have a side effect of improving the overall quality of the model or of the workflow, generally speaking. So this is something that keep in mind, like add something like this 8-step, and you can go higher with the steps. Like it's not like it doesn't have to be set in stone, more or less. And also, like with image edit, you can also generate images. Like it doesn't have to be something that you use just to edit the image. You can actually just turn it into a very simple text to image. So here I actually just put my prompt. I wrote my prompt and I didn't insert any images, and I generated an image with it. And you can see that the quality is relatively good. However, just wanted to quickly share also is that actually for image generation, I pretty much prefer Qwen, because Qwen, even though it's for videos, it has a very good understanding of context, physicality, lighting, and so forth. And the generated results are usually better, and they look more natural for some reason. Here, for example, I'm going to grab the same prompt, and then I'm going to go here downstairs. Here, this is actually a very simple Qwen text to image prompt workflow, sorry. And I'm going to see if I can also use the same prompt from up there. By the way, I used this workflow to generate this image that you saw, this one. So I'm going to use this. So it's the same setup, but this time I'm going to be using Qwen just to see what's the differences. And then I can show you both of the results so you can also compare visually which one you're more comfortable with, because once again, it's all about taste. And also, as Luka mentioned, it's all about getting a result that you can upscale later, because upscaling is a very important part of the generative process. And once you finish something, this is rarely your final product. You have to upscale it further. So even with Qwen, even if the result looks a bit fuzzy, you can always upscale it. So yeah,
By the way, if I can jump in,
of course.
there's a question: how is Qwen with prompt adherence compared to Qwen? It is much, much, much better.
In my opinion, yeah, in my opinion, Qwen is better, especially if you combine both together. So even with text to image, if you combine both, meaning the high and low noise, because I often found that the high noise, it's kind of like more or less it's in the video generation process, it is the maestro that kind of like makes sure that the composition works, that the pieces are moving, or like the movement, it's responsible more for the movement side and the composition side. And this also reflects if you generate images, is that if you add just a little bit of high noise just in the beginning of the process and then continue with the low noise, you start to generate something that's a little bit more understanding of the prompt. And this can also show in stuff like, for example, yeah, it's not that necessary, but for example, in the prompt, I wrote this kind of like, there's this famous kind of like mid-century lamp that looked like an atomic bomb situation, not a bomb, sorry, like just an atom. And it was kind of a reference to this era because of all the fear that's going on and stuff. So it looked like the kind of like an atom or the representation of it. And it kind of looked like the central bulb and stuff. And I noticed that Qwen gets it more right than Qwen, for example, and which was something very nice, that it understood even the type of lamp that I had, and it had it somewhere in the trained data set, and it managed to generate it there. So it's something like
One more thing I found out. If you're working with Qwen and people, I mean, if you're not working with people, then any upscaler will work. But if you're working with people, then what really works well is doing image to image with SDXL models. So you take the image from Qwen and you put it into SDXL image to image, and your denoising rate must be between 0.1 and 0.15, just to apply this mini textures that SDXL handles really, really well for the human skin.
I also do the same actually, but with Qwen as well. I'm a big fan of Qwen apparently.
Well, yeah,
So
but
Qwen
Qwen
is actually
requires.
really good.
It is, I agree, but it requires quite a lot of GPU, while SDXL
True,
creates
true,
image to image in split second.
true. And also, so I just ran into the exact same problem that Luka had, which is like I think I overflooded my VRAM, which is something that happens if you work with Qwen. Unfortunately, if you run or rerun the same process with like different LoRas and stuff, Qwen has this side effect of always plugging or like choking the VRAM for some reason, and then yeah, like it just disconnected. And this is kind of like the error that just showed a minute ago, which is just like disconnected means that the VRAM exceeded a certain limit to the point that it had to shut the server down. But at least the result survived. And what you can see on the right-hand side is what's generated from Wan, and on the left-hand side is what's generated from Qwen, from my personal taste. I think the one on the right is much cleaner for some reason. I like it. I like the one on the right. The details are sharper. The lighting is somehow more natural. It's more of what you expect if you like the one on the right is something that I can easily see in like an interior design magazine or something. So, and of course, you can always use this image and then you can plug it into this workflow and then you can see it from different angles and perspectives as well. But we have only 3 minutes. I can also like restart the server and let it
I
work.
think we can make it 5 minutes longer because we started late.
All right, perfect. In this case, I can
If you
also
have
restart.
time, of course, and if people
Yeah,
have time and interest, of course.
absolutely. Like
Perfect.
if you guys would be staying for a couple of more minutes, sure, I can also rerun this one because I'm curious to see how it looks like as well.
And I heard there are rumors that this issue of GPU flooding will be fixed in the next Comfy version. So I am very, very looking forward to that. So no more rebooting Comfy, which is, you know, spending a lot of time doing that. Probably you
Yeah, yeah.
know.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I also like the issue is the VRAM or the GPU that I'm using is an 3090, which is now getting a bit obsolete when it comes to generative AI. And it has 42 gigabytes, which I thought was a big deal, but apparently with working with like Qwen and Flux and One and these types of models, that's nothing. This is
Hold on,
rookie numbers.
3090 GPU with 42 gig. Oh no, 42
Sorry,
system
I
RAM.
apologize. 24. I apologize.
24,
I mixed the numbers. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
20, yeah,
Yeah.
24, 24.
I would want that GPU. Yeah.
Really? I
Yeah.
mean, it's now relatively cheap. Like if you get it
No,
right
no,
now, it's
I would want one with 42 gigs of VRAM.
oh yeah,
That
yeah,
would be
absolutely.
nice.
Everybody
Yeah.
everybody wants that, but
Yeah.
it's only the prices is the reason why we never have good things.
Exactly. Exactly. But if you
Um,
have some spare money, you can easily buy A6000, which is
um,
10K, yeah?
yeah, I'm definitely thinking of an upgrade.
Yeah.
Um, so nice. Now we restarted. I really, really hope that it wouldn't forget the results.
So
I'm just
Carlos is
gonna.
brave. He is working on Mac and trying to work with Comfy. Dude, you have my respect, man.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Painful. I've had to like honestly take a step back and I'm using the APIs. I'm trying to just like make sure I'm not falling too far off of understanding. But that's one of my things. I'm trying to figure out like what's the best computer to get, what's the best setup, what's going to hold me down for the future, um, to be able to work and not get so stuck because that frustration, it's like
Hmm.
half hour, 45 minutes, and you're like you're just snailing across where you have the
Right.
APIs that like you can just, at least for my type of work, it's speed, a lot of it, and
Yeah,
not too
yeah.
much time.
Yeah, maybe we should have a session, Maggot, for
Hmm.
optimizing Comfy workflows. What do you need? What you can do, right? That would be interesting, right?
True, especially now. I also wanted to get a bit deeper into quantization, like which is like a concept of machine learning. If you have a big model
Right.
and you basically kind of like chunk it down into smaller pieces so that the VRAM can work it, but this comes on the expense of just the quality takes a bit of a hit.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
at the same time, it's I think just the option of reducing the quality a little bit with the with the plus side of it actually running or running a bit faster is always, of course, a good thing to do, especially with video generation models. So yeah, like we probably can do something like this. Plus, we can also perhaps go through, like if people would like to run ComfyUI on online hosts, for example, like
Mhm.
what is the maybe recommended platforms and so forth, especially that there is also Comfy Cloud. which I haven't tinkered a lot with, but from my understanding is that it's similar to, for example, Run Diffusion or Run Comfy, which is a platform that already has some inherent installed, let's say, nodes and models. So if you want to add additional models or stuff that doesn't exist, I don't know to what extent this can work, but yeah, it's still in beta, so there's still a lot to do there as well. So like now it should be running. What it's actually continuing from the last generation is I wanted to also show this image, which is basically the result of, well, this didn't work apparently because the server crashed mid-generation, but it's okay. But what we wanted now to show is to just plug this one into this workflow and see this interior from different perspectives. And I'm going to go ahead and run this one. And just so you know, I was using to generate these types of results so I can have multiple results at the same time. All I had to do is that I went to the positive node for conditioning and I just added this kind of string list. And in every line, I just wrote a new prompt. And this you can use for ideation, generally speaking. Doesn't necessarily have to be with this one. It can be with any workflow that you have. When you write your prompt, instead of writing the text directly, you can just have this string list. You type multiple prompts at the same time, and you you connect this string list or this, let's say, prompt list directly into your positive side, and it just generates multiple images that you can go through, kind of like if you want to see multiple generations at the same time in your preview. And yeah, this is also a very useful thing to do or to pay attention to if you want to have multiple ideas. While it's generating, let's take a look also at the if anybody had any questions in the chat, for example.
Well, there are suggestions for Carlos to use cloud services,
Mhm.
and people are advising Running Hub, which is really good because they're charging only GPU time, while I think all others are charging the time, the server time, right? So if you buy 1 hour, you will pay, let's say, $2. And after 1 hour, well, whether if you work with it or not, you will be charged $2. With Running Hub, if you are just checking out the workflow, you are not getting charged, and you're getting charged just for the time that GPU is running. So Running Hub might be one of the best services out there for end users. For companies and for corporations, I would actually use Run Diffusion because it has a crazy good plan for privacy and for ethics. So I would not trust Running Hub with this, but Run Diffusion has special certificates and other legal stuff that guarantee that your stuff is safe with them. And Running Hub is not doing that. So, if you're doing things for yourself, absolutely Running Hub. If you're doing things for clients, I would use Run Diffusion.
Carlos was also asking a question: Comfy versus Weavy. I think maybe Luka, you can answer this better. 'Cause,
Yeah, this
'cause
is like peaches
yeah.
and apples. It's way different. I
Yeah.
would use Weavy for video and image production, and Comfy is more for automation, for the latest technology, for the latest stuff that's been going out. So I would use Weavy for for streamlining my production work, and Comfy for creating workflows, automotive workflows, and of course, production as well.
Thank you guys.
I think also Comfy is like a bit more under the hood, generally
Yes,
speaking.
absolutely. You can change a lot with Weavy. Absolutely nothing, right? Uh, you get what you want, and that's it. With Weavy, with Comfy, sorry guys, with Comfy, you can import any nodes if you're working locally, of course. If you're working on clouds, you will have to create stuff with already installed nodes. And you can also create your own custom nodes. So that's a big thing. So you can do whatever you want to do in Comfy. In Weavy, you're limited. Still, Weavy is very powerful. I love it. I love working with it.
True, true. It's very practical too. It
Yeah.
has a very, very nice interface as well.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's very, very intuitive. We have a couple of announcements in next weeks regarding Weavy. I won't spoil the surprise, but it's going to be pretty big.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now I'm curious. Now you're not leaving the session until you tell us anything. Wait a minute, you can't just say that.
Yes, I can, and I just did.
Yeah, excited for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, also like regarding the workflow, it's been kind of stuck at KSampler. I don't think it's broken. I think it's still working, but maybe it's just like kind of struggling, which is like it's a little bit.
What is the console saying?
It's saying like partially loaded, and now it
Mhm.
should be actually loading. Yeah, it's now loading
Are
actually.
you
Yeah,
are you
true.
doing Wan or Quan? When?
Now it's in the Qwen.
Oh, Quan.
So
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, now it's in the Qwen, kind of like using this multi-angle workflow.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like it's just yeah, it's always this thing with Qwen. You just notice over time as you're working, it
Mm-hmm.
starts to work very nice and fast, and
Yeah.
then over time it just keeps clogging your VRAM,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
eventually you kind of reach this kind of very snaily area where it just works very slow or just outright chokes the GPU. I dropped the number of steps to 4 steps. Hopefully this would generate something nice, but let's see. Just maybe it would just not work at all, or maybe it will. We'll see.
All right. Carlos has another question. Are these Qwen models available with APIs? So no, unfortunately not.
Mm.
What you can do is find, I'm not sure if there are those LoRa's and models on Replicate or in FAL, because Weavy imports all the models that are on Replicate and on FAL, and you can import them in Weavy workflow. So that's one of the solutions. I haven't checked that, but if there are on Replicate or on FAL, they should work in Weavy. But I think that all those LoRa's are very, very easy to import in the cloud services like Comfy, like Running Hub, like Run Diffusion, and so on. And we have another question from Paul. Can you create any Gaussian splat in ComfyUI? No, you cannot create Gaussian splat in ComfyUI. You need a device with a LiDAR, and you need to scan the object and then import it through, I'm not sure how, but I think I know that there are services out there. Luma used to be a Gaussian splat provider. Now they are completely into the AI videos. What is it Polycam or Poly something? Poly. Let me check. Let me check really
Interesting. I didn't know
quickly.
this about
Yeah,
Luma.
it's Polycam.
Polycam. Thank you.
Polycam,
Yes,
yeah.
Polycam. Exactly. And it's still alive, is it?
Yeah,
I think so
Yeah,
too.
perfect. Yeah. So with Polycam, you can actually import the footage, create it with your phone with LiDAR, and you get really nice Gaussian splat out. And you're welcome, Paul. Three is asking which tool is best for LoRa training locally. Does it require heavy blades like H100? Well, the better the GPU, the faster the LoRa will be trained. So H100 is a very good choice. Three, if you have an access, I would like to buy you a coffee. But the best tool for LoRa training locally, I'm having really good results with FluxGym if you are using Flux. But if you're using for Qwen, I'm not sure. Those Qwen LoRa's are relatively new, so I don't think that are the trainers for Qwen locally out there. Maggot, do you know any of them
For train like locally, I think
for
like
Qwen?
for Qwen,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so like I know that there is a very kind of like wholesome tool that you can use for any of these, which is Ostrus.
Oh,
And
Ostrich.
Ostrus, I hope I remember the spelling correctly. I can also look for it.
yeah.
So
Ostrich Toolkit. Yeah.
Ostrus AI toolkit. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Right.
this one is it can run 100% locally. It's super versatile. Maybe requires a little bit more of like, you have to see a couple of tutorials just to see how it runs. But the cool thing about it is that it runs locally 100% and it supports pretty much everything. Like WAN models, you can even train like video models for WAN. You can train Qwen models. You can train Flux models. Anything you can think of. I'm going
Great.
to also share the link here in the chat. Right here. There you go.
Got it.
And also, what do you think, guys? Like, I really like this multiple angle one. It's crazy. Like, I mean, as an architect, we sometimes really need kind of these types of angles, or like maybe you need to adjust something, but this is crazy good.
Yeah, this is magic.
Yeah.
All right, we've gone a little overboard with time,
Yes,
but
we did.
it was amazing that 1 hour went through like, you know, the maglev train. So that was amazing. Thank you guys so much for hanging out, for checking out the new stuff that we have. As always, you are welcome to check out Lighthouse Academy website and see if there is any course for you that you like. We have 3. We have AI for creative leaders, which covers the whole spectrum of Gen AI. Then you have Advanced Comfy for advanced Comfy stuff. If you are the mid-level, then this is perfect for you. But if you haven't touched Comfy, like never, then Basic Comfy will set you up. Check out our other stuff on the website. We will have some features starting January where you could rent your own instructor for live sessions and some other stuff. And big things are coming up next year. And yeah, thank you so much for your time, for your focus. Black Friday specials. Might be. We were still in early bird stage. So if you sign in right now, you will get a nice discount. So yeah, again, thank you so much, Maggot. Pleasure as always. Isaac, Carlitos, Sri, it was nice to see you again.
Yes.
So yeah, thanks so much. And of course, next week there is another Lighthouse Live, and we will announce our guest soon enough. So thank you again, and bye-bye.
Thank you guys.
You.
Thank you. Take care, everyone. Bye.